Hi friends, that's a little bit of the Dorian Mode, which is a scale and some chords that go along with it. I kind of call it sexy minor. So this time we're going to talk about the modes of the major scale. There are also modes of other scales like melodic minor and harmonic minor, but by far the most common modes are those of the major scale. And there are two ways to think about the modes, and in this video we're going to talk about the theoretical way that they are derived. Before you can watch this video and understand it, you ought to first at least know how to play a major scale across the neck of the guitar, and in this video we're going to use the key of C for simplicity because the notes are just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. No sharps and flats. I'm also going to do a screencast of a piano keyboard because one of the easiest ways to see the modes is on a piano. There are a couple of PDFs that you can get off my website, davesguitarplanet.com. Doesn't cost you anything to download these and print them. The first one for this video we're going to look at, it's called the 7 diatonic modes. That's another way to say modes of the major scale. Basically what diatonic means is the scales, this major scale is made up of whole steps and half steps. And if you haven't watched it yet, I advise you to, under the beginning section, check out the one about how to play a major scale on one string. You've got a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. You should at least know the E shape. Also in the intermediate section of my website you can find the 5 shapes based around the cage system, C, A, G, E, D, and there are 5 scale shapes relating to each of those chord shapes. If you want a quick review of that shape, start with your first finger on the 7th fret of the E string. I'll just say the finger numbers: 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. So the whole shape is like this. Okay, let's take a look at the piano keyboard for a second, then we'll come back to the guitar. I'm in GarageBand, which is an Apple program, and I pulled up the keyboard. Let's talk about the difference between a piano and a guitar. Well, on the piano, there's only one place to play this C note, for example. But on the guitar, there's probably 2 or 3 places on the neck where you could play exactly the same note. The piano is color-coded, and that's the way it evolved. The piano is really laid out for the key of C. So if I play this, I'm playing a major scale starting on C. In case you don't know, if you find the 2 black notes together, then there's also 3 that are together. So the note that's just before the 2 black notes is C. And then if you play just the white keys up to the next C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's a C major scale. You can see that from C to D, there's a black note in between. So from C to D, we call a whole step. From C to C sharp or D flat, we call a half step. So the shortest distance you can go between 2 notes are half steps. That's called a chromatic scale, in case you don't know, to play every note. On the guitar, it would be just playing every fret Okay, so another name for the C major scale, or a major scale, is Ionian mode. And again, the formula for the Ionian mode, or where the whole steps and half steps are, from C, of course in music theory now we call this 1 or the root. The next note is up 2 half steps, which equals a whole step. From 1 to 2 is a whole step. 2 to 3, a whole step. Now you'll notice 3 and 4, there's no black note in between, so that's a half step. 4 to 5, there's a black note in between, so that's a whole step up. 5 to 6, a whole step. 6 to 7, a whole step. Now 7 and 8 are right next to each other, no black note in between. So that's an important thing to remember. The half steps are between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. So let's switch back to the guitar and let's play a C major scale or Ionian mode on the guitar. Okay, the first mode, or Ionian mode, it's just another name for the major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. In order to play it in the key of C, one place we can do it is by starting with our second finger on the 8th fret of the E string. We're going to play the E shape. So this is what it looks like. I'll just say the finger numbers. The whole shape, if you're going to practice the shapes, we start every note that's under our fingers, so it would be the 7, but let's just start on the root. So the finger numbers starting second finger 8th fret E string, the finger number 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. Major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. And the notes are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Just like on the piano. So you can see again that your whole steps are between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. From the root on the 8th fret up a whole step to the 10th fret. From there to there, the 2nd to the 3rd note, that's another whole step. Okay, now half step to 4, whole step to 5, whole step to 6, whole step to 7, and our other half step between 7 and 8. Okay, let's go back to the piano and let's look at the next mode, which is Dorian mode. Dorian mode on the piano. Here was the major scale starting on C. Dorian mode, the way we're going to look at it this time, the way the modes are derived, is by starting on each key of the scale and playing up 8 notes, which creates a different scale. So we're going to start on D, the second note of the major scale in the key of C, and play up 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you can already hear that's a much different sounding scale. First of all, it has a minor third in it, so that the root chord or tonic chord is a minor chord. So minor has a sadder or darker sound than major. And backwards. So now the formula for the scale, the position of the half steps has shifted. This is now the root of the scale. The second is up a whole step. But to the third note, that's a half step there. Then to the fourth note, a whole step. To the fifth note, a whole step. Up to the sixth, a whole step. And now from 6 to 7, we've got the half step there now. And from 7 to 8, which is the high root, we've got a whole step. So this we call a minor mode because the one chord is minor. You know, chords are built off every other note of a scale. 1, this would be a flat 3 and a 5. Okay, let's play it on the guitar. Now if we simply begin a scale starting on the second degree of the C major scale, we have D Dorian. So this would be the root of the major scale. Here's the second note of the major scale. Now this is going to be the root, or the first note of the Dorian scale. Now we need to go up one more note in the scale shape. I'll say the finger numbers. We're going to start with the fourth finger or little finger on the 10th fret of the E string, 1 on the A string, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, and ending on with the first finger, 7th fret G string. Okay, let's review the intervals, starting with the little finger on the 10th fret of the E string, to the first finger, 7th fret A string. That's a whole step. Now we've got a minor third, so that's where our half step is. Now a whole step to the fourth note of the Dorian scale, another whole step to the fifth note, a whole step to the sixth note. Now we got a half step to the seventh note, and a whole step back to 8, or root. Backwards, I'll say finger numbers. 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4. Well, let me just say that the Dorian mode is it's a minor mode, kind of a sexy sounding mode, I think. Okay, the next mode, starting on the third degree of a major scale, is the Phrygian mode. Some people pronounce it Phrygian.